There's a good chance you may have seen a video along the lines of "Young Americans don't know anything," or at least a reaction to it. Street interview videos made to highlight the ignorance of American youth.
What is 15% of 100? Around what?
Guess,
yeah, give me your best guess.
15%. Is it? I wouldn't say 50 because that's half. So, isn't that half?
Give me a number, yeah.
All right. Let's do 30.
Yes.
While initially it's easy to get caught up in the absurdity of it all, looking back now I'm more so curious as to how widespread this problem is and what may be contributing to it. So the first question is, are the people in the street interviews unfortunate outliers? Or is there data to suggest this is indeed a trend? According to recent test scores, students are severely underperforming in subjects like math and reading. Education Week goes as far as to say 2 decades of progress nearly gone. Although that doesn't eliminate bias from these street interviews. For entertainment purposes, it's in their best interest to use the worst examples.
You know how many minutes make up 1 hour?
See, let me tell y'all something. My math, a little bit.
You need to speak into the mic so they can hear.
My math, I haven't been to school in a minute. I finished college, but I just haven't been to school. So,
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, y'all gonna have to ask me a different question.
Also, the quality of education from each state, actually each school district, is going to be different.
For real, I went to school in New York. In my high school, most of the kids that graduated couldn't read. And I see that nothing has changed.
Wait, a majority of kids who graduated couldn't read? That has to be hyperbole, right? I mean, the highest rate of illiteracy in America is what, like 5% max? More than 22% in New York? That's almost 1 in 4. And, of course, only California could top New York in illiteracy. Okay, so assuming the quality of schools in New York is quite varied, if It's a Gundam was in a particularly rough school district, then it might actually be possible that a majority of his graduated class is illiterate. But these literacy numbers aren't for a particular age group. I digress. The first contributing factor which may come to mind are the school closings which have happened over the last couple years. And while the school closings have undoubtedly had an effect on both students and teachers, let's start by taking a more top-down approach. I went through a couple of these street interview videos and tried to find the examples of questions with the least amount of prior knowledge required. This boils it down to mostly math problems and deduction, which should help further highlight this problem, because according to the test scores, math and reading are the nation's weakest subjects. And while deducing an answer from a spoken sentence isn't exactly reading, the ability to extract information from language is often what they're testing for regarding reading. For example,
Do you know what country the Great Wall of China is in?
Country?
Yeah. If you had to guess.
Japanese?
Yes.
even if you didn't know anything about geography, it would be a pretty good guess that the Great Wall of China is in China. In my eyes, the two most likely reasons for a misunderstanding of this caliber are A, a fundamental communication problem, or B, an issue with processing and solving the question. Although for each individual, the causes of these problems are going to be a bit different, focus does seem to be a common factor between being able to listen and problem solving. This is assuming the person is familiar with all the language being used in the question, which unfortunately isn't always the case. Like not knowing what dimes are.
How many dimes make up $1?
How many dimes?
Yeah.
Oh my god, we're doing math now? Why are you doing all the questions I can't answer?
Take a guess, you know
dimes,
this.
Dimes. Wait, I don't remember what dimes are. Wait, $1?
Yeah.
Next question!
Even though English appears to be her first language, if you don't know the meaning of common words, then there's still a language barrier of sorts. A language issue like this is so rudimentary it doesn't really tell us much, so let's move on. Although focus in students is being talked about more and more, there doesn't seem to be that much research out there on the decline of students' attention spans. However, a recent article published by Harvard says research has shown that cell phones distract and negatively impact reaction times, performance, enjoyment of focal tasks, and cognitive capacity. While it may sound cliche at this point, the societal prevalence of smartphones is undeniable, given the fact that smartphones are still a relatively new addition to society, and the shift towards more short-form content. Smartphones may just be one of the larger contributing factors to the lower test scores. Apparently, the term TikTok brain has already been coined to describe the negative impact it has on attention span. So, certain aspects of technology are having a negative impact on cognitive ability. What else could be? The impact of the school closings over the last couple years cannot be ignored. It's pretty obvious that large gaps in education would cause problems regarding academics. What's often overlooked is the disruption of a proper social life. If students are feeling too withdrawn and hesitant to participate in the classroom, how can we expect them to learn the material in the first place? Some children may have more difficulty following instructions and sharing. Others may feel more hesitant about participating in the classroom and may initially seem withdrawn. If we can push to make up for lost time, they can certainly still gain those skills. The most important role a parent can play is modeling a positive attitude. Children look to the adults in their lives to decide how to react to situations, and we need to set the right tone. Which leads us to the last potential factor in this video: parental issues. Students generally perform better when their parents are involved in their schoolwork. However, there doesn't seem to be much research or data regarding how parents are currently performing, which makes sense because parents, especially the worst parents, would have no interest in having their parenting evaluated by anybody else. Although there does seem to be a good amount of parents out there who are happy to allow technology to pick up some of their slack. And as we went over earlier, when used improperly, technology can have a negative impact on cognitive ability. And if parents are replacing interacting with their children with TikTok, the children are going to have a much harder time developing the proper social skills required for the classroom. By contrast, being an overbearing parent is also a problem. Parents have been conditioned to find ways to involve themselves, even when kids are on task and actively playing or doing what they've been asked to do. But too much direct engagement can come at a cost to kids' abilities to control their own attention, behavior, and emotions. When parents let kids take the lead in their interactions, children practice self-regulation skills and build independence. This, of course, doesn't mean to give your child the freedom to consume as much TikTok as they would like, but to take a more measured and balanced approach to parenting in general. So, what are some potential solutions, if there are any? For now, I think the best thing that both parents and students can do is to be mindful of how important this problem is. In the face of the information age, our test scores in both math and reading are beyond embarrassing. Like I said, in the street interviews, they're probably picking the worst examples they can find. But still, the worst shouldn't be this bad. Alright, that's gonna have to do it for this one. Shout out to the best subscriber squad in all of YouTube. I hope everybody has a wonderful day.
But in the end, they're unorganized, they're incompetent, and most of all, they're corrupt.